Hi, my name is Paul Rutherford. This is my submission for the Digital 1 assessment. I'm based in Wellington, where I teach middle school science plus chemistry in the senior school at Scots College. I have a working background in science previously, and science education is now my passion. By way of background, I'd say that science is usually regarded as challenging or difficult for a lot of students, and it'd be hard to get a high level of engagement teaching this area. I think a lot of science teachers would have similar experience. I'm going to focus on knowledge construction here. To summarize my current digital and collaborative learning practice, I'd start by saying I work in a fairly supportive environment. This includes facilities at school, which is fairly well resourced, as well as goals within the school. One of my own professional goals is shown here and aligns pretty closely with where the school wants to go. There's some big steps being taken here, and I'm pleased to be over the past few years, I've steadily increased my use of digital resources, and some of these are listed here. For example, I use OneNote very comprehensively and systematically. I know this is appreciated by many of the students who don't have to take a lot of notes, for example, and they can catch up easily on missed work. I use a lot of in-class videos and online resources, especially Education Perfect. I've dabbled with some flipped learning activities. This is definitely an area of focus in the near future. And general results have been positive, but it's become more obvious there's just a long way to go with all of this. I get feedback from students via printed forms as well as Microsoft Forms online as part of my teacher inquiry. I've included a couple of extracts here. The impression I get is students particularly value being able to work at their own pace as well as getting immediate feedback. Support for videos is less clear. This is possibly due to the way these have been used. I'll come back to this later. Feedback from students on working collaboratively is also not that clear cut. And again, this could be related to the way that activities have usually been structured. As you can see, they mostly value collaborative learning, but are also well aware of some of the drawbacks of working with others. So coming back to the problem or challenge, these are my areas of focus, and I'm going to look at knowledge construction in particular as a 21st century skill as identified by ITL research. This is particularly applicable to the sciences, where a lot of abstract thinking needs to be held in the working memory. In reviewing the various 21st century skills according to different sources, such as the often quoted World Economic Forum report in 2015, there's a lot of overlap between this particular skill and others such as critical thinking and problem solving, as well as overall metacognition and perhaps the New Zealand key competency of thinking itself. This is to address comments such as, "I don't get it," or "Science is difficult." Here's an outline of my proposal. I can see that much of what I've been doing so far does not go really as far as it could in terms of the SAMR model. ICT related activities in my classes are typically at level 2 of augmentation, sometimes level 3 of modification, but really, if ever, are really at level 4 of redefinition. So I need to raise the level of ICT innovations, and that's going to require activities involving a higher level of collaboration for the in-class activities. A relevant framework for implementing this is the 4-dimensional education model, as shown here from the Centre for Curriculum Redesign. This is a non-profit global organisation dedicated to improving education via answering the question, what should students learn for the 21st century? Steve Griffiths, in a 2016 introductory video, showed how flipped learning, together with active learning in the class, can help develop the competencies of this model. Steve is very active in posting videos in this area, along with John Bergman himself, who of course these days leads the flipped learning global initiative. What we can do in implementing flipped learning for knowledge is focus on the meta concepts and not get bogged down with excessive detail. The subject material becomes the context for teaching the key skills, which of course includes critical thinking and knowledge construction. The knowledge is not front-loaded, but becomes a tool for learning activities based on the constructivist model. Using flipped learning, the classroom becomes freed up as a much more active and collaborative learning environment. Also, this provides an opportunity to build on character traits for students and an overall meta-learning or metacognition. Researching for this project happened to follow a chemistry teachers' day at Victoria University of Wellington. This included a lengthy discussion titled, "Why do students find it so difficult to learn chemistry?" and a review of the groundbreaking and innovative work over several decades by chemistry educator Professor Alex Johnstone in Scotland. A few bells rang for me at this point. The next 5 slides are from the video presentation by Reed, 2017. Johnstone's work showed the crucial importance of pre-learning for knowledge construction and understanding in chemistry. This subject requires quite a lot of abstract information to be held in the working memory at the same time. At a certain point, there can be just too many balls in the air for students to cover. This applies for lecture style material as well as for labs or practicals. I take pre-learning here to be analogous to what we now refer to as flipped learning. It's interesting that Johnson also emphasized the importance of working in groups, analogous to collaborative learning, for developing key skills, which we would now associate with 21st century learning. I already do a lot of practical work and see real scope here for developing activities which can relate to the upper end of the ITL rubrics. My proposal for implementing all of this in general requires evolution rather than revolution, consistent with the TPAC model and research by Zhao and others and various other researchers. Trialing should be limited with this approach. However, communication with stakeholders, reflection and regular feedback will be important. The innovations focusing on knowledge construction would of course focus on flipped learning, some differentiation for senior and middle school classes, some differentiation for using Edpuzzle versus Screencast-o-matic, and of course all leading to collaborative activities in class following on as that is freed up. I'd also be looking at mind mapping, concept mapping, and flip jigsaw activities in particular. Here's the bibliography, hopefully in APA format, and this goes on, so it's not too tiny. Thank you very much.